How do you see India over the next 7 years? Let's say from 2018 to 2025, how big is the size of opportunity, and where do you see the opportunity? What is your vision for India in 2025?
Well, I believe we are at a vantage point of an opportunity where probably the best period for Indian economy, hence some of the outstanding businesses, quality and transparent businesses within the fold of the economy, and hence their performance, their profits and cash flows, hence their economic value, and therefore their stock prices, and therefore that of the indices. I think we are standing at a vantage point of what I would say is a golden decade, if not more, of a phenomenal compounding ahead. When people are concerned and expressing a lot of concerns about various matters, sometimes it comes in form of oil, in trade war, it comes in form of FDA tightening the interest rates, or concern about domestic situation. People are essentially unduly focusing on concerns and forgetting to look at opportunities. And I'll prefer to look at opportunities rather than overly getting concerned by concerns. If you want to make it a business to get yourself concerned, markets provide you dozens of reasons every single day, and therefore it will take you away from good investing. But I think we are at a fantastic situation. Significant economic reforms have occurred, starting with demonetization. One of the biggest reforms that has occurred is GST, I think, which will fundamentally alter character of businesses, overall economy, therefore the government revenues. It will have salutary effect on bringing down logistics and other costs of the businesses and improve efficiency. And I think overall it sets the tone for a very modern India, modern economy in a very right way. Similarly, Real Estate Regulation Act or insolvency and bankruptcy process to even out the behavior of the promoters, as well as to rapidly resolve these thorny issues. Not to forget shell company closing down and the work underway to resolve the banking difficulties that we have witnessed over some time. I think these, coupled with socio-economic changes of housing for everybody, or sanitation, and clean fuel for the households, plus infrastructure building, all of these are paving the way for a foundation of an economy where that's on a very strong footing. So I see some few major trends emanating from this. One is the shift from the physical to the financial. I think that is a very important change, from less liquid and relatively less economic value creating physical assets to the financial assets, which are more liquid and which have greater potential to create economic value of a higher order. Second is the formalization of the economy to make it transparent and more aligned with the modern way of the good economies, how they behave. Third, I think, is the probity that is being placed, the premium being placed by the markets on the probity and the governance of the businesses. And I think that is a huge change which has occurred in the behavior of how markets are differentiating between the same rupee of profit made by two different businesses. Fourth, I think clearly the capital efficiency with all of these is beginning to inch up, and which is a telling effect on value creation. Simultaneously, the cost of capital is under control and has declined. And finally, I think variety of issues where costs will come down over a period of time, whether we take logistics cost, whether we take telecom and communication, even manpower cost as a percentage of sales has shown a tendency to dip. The cost of capital, Even the relative capital intensity declining and capital efficiency rising shows depreciation is a charge as a percentage of the top line is diminishing. And finally, at some stage, with GST fully stabilized and the revenue collection going up, we will see moderation of the tax rate, both indirect as well as the direct ones, because the government finances will be in order. And therefore, I believe there are various levers for reduction of cost over a period of time. Therefore, there are fantastic opportunities. For example, finance as an opportunity is a huge, staggering
I mean, we're
opportunity.
almost going from, let's say, a 2.4, $2.5 trillion economy to a $5 trillion economy.
Oh, easily. We should be more than doubling the size of the real economy in these 7-8 years time frame. And therefore, it will mean that the finance businesses will grow at a rate much faster, because typically finance businesses display two characteristics. Their rate of growth of an economy in ascendance, which I believe India is in, is typically a multiple of the real GDP growth. And typically the finance sector growth precedes the growth of the economy rather than lags. And therefore, finance growth will be a lead engine of the growth of economy. And I believe we are slated to grow at meaningful 7.5–8%, if not higher, for a long period of time now. The stage is now set. Also the consumption, because this is an aspirational country. Even at relatively bottom of the pyramid, the consumption is not about cheapness, it is about value for money. So in terms of the consumption behavior, this country has displayed a great deal of discerning maturity over a period of time. And as the income levels rise, the rapidity of the consumption rise will be much, much higher. Because given the fact that our per capita income is about that $2,000, the magic number where we are currently, every improvement in the income level will relatively in the middle and the bottom segment of the pyramid will convert into consumption much, much higher. And therefore, that is a phenomenal another engine, which is a growth engine. Third is the trend of transparency, which makes formal and compliant businesses in a far favored situation in variety of sectors that has been a trend. And therefore, many businesses, whether you take jewelry as one example, even the consumer goods, FMCG as a category itself is another example, there are clear winds blowing in favor of compliant and organized business units compared to the non-compliant and who do not want to mend and change their behavior. Therefore, these businesses will gain immensely, not only from the economy and the sector growth, but also the growth which they would take away from the non-compliant businesses in each of the sectors. Fourth, if you see long-term trends, for example, look at a business like insurance, where I think opportunity for growth could be not just a decade or more, but probably 2 decades and more. That is an area, it is driven by 3 essential factors. One, the size of opportunity is truly large in insurance as a category, both life and general. Secondly, the current penetration rates are pifflingly small at 2.5% and 3%.
So it again relates to the size of opportunity.
Yes. So both there is a huge size of opportunity, and secondly, penetration is itself low. Third, the size of opportunity itself is expanding with the growth in per capita income. And therefore, the 3 things put together sets a stage for a perfect, superb long-term compounding kind of an engine. So therefore, I would believe that insurance as a sector probably will grow in healthy double digit, not for 3 and 5 or 10 years, but probably 20 years and more. So outstanding compounding machines can be created in that area. Automobile is another area, for example, where clearly now India, from being a recipient of some products from outside and consuming it, has become one of the biggest auto hubs of the world. Whether you take two-wheelers, you take three-wheelers, you take four-wheelers in commercial vehicle or a tractor or the cars. Across the board, India has now developed the entire ecosystem around that area, from auto parts to the full automobile manufacturing, both for domestic consumption as well as for the international markets, of a fantastic variety. And I think this is something which is going to go further by leaps and bounds. And therefore, I mean, these are just some that I'm illustrating, but if I have to quote from Buffett, even after my 30 years of investing, I feel childlike excitement today. So to quote from Buffett, it's like you feel like a kid in a candy shop. That is the kind of opportunity I believe. So there is a fantastic transformational effect from the sheer growth of the economy, the growth of the per capita income, the rise of formalization and therefore shift towards transparent businesses and compliant businesses, rise of the discretionary consumption, and shift emanating in terms of growth of the income. Therefore, what will happen to the savings, and therefore investment, need to manage those investments, need to channelize savings properly. So finance and investment is activity. Variety of the businesses, I think it is mouth-wateringly huge an opportunity. All we need to do is to find outstanding businesses run by great people, ensure that they have a meaningful opportunity, therefore that will have a meaningful growth rate for a meaningful length of time, and backed by capital efficiency, so that all that growth creates economic value. And if we buy that economic value at some discount and patiently remain with them, then I think that's a recipe for fantastic value creation over a period of time.
Bharat bhai, I think you summed it up perfectly. So basically, one should not focus on transient factors and the noise that we hear in the system, but be focused on the